I trusted my best friend, and she married my dad. I never thought I'd be telling a story like this, but my life completely changed the day I realized that the person I trusted the most became the source of my greatest betrayal. My best friend's name was Emily. I met her back in high school, and from the very beginning, we were inseparable. We shared secrets, heartbreaks, dreams, and endless laughter. She knew everything about me, things I didn't even dare to tell my mom. To me, she wasn't just a friend. She was like a sister. We grew up together, went to the same college, and even lived just a few blocks apart. My house basically became her second home. My mom adored her, often calling her her second daughter. And even though my dad was usually more reserved, he seemed to like Emily too. I never imagined that closeness would one day destroy me. My relationship with my dad was always complicated. He was strict, distant, the kind of man who always seemed hard to please. He spent most of his time working, and when he was home, he kept to himself. I always felt like nothing I did was ever enough for him. But Emily had this charm. She had a way of making everyone like her, including my dad. I still remember one afternoon vividly. Emily and I came back from college, exhausted from finals. My dad was sitting in the living room reading the newspaper. When Emily walked in, he looked up, smiled, something he rarely did with me, and offered to make her coffee. I laughed it off at the time, brushing it away as just a kind gesture. But there was something in the way he looked at her, a flicker in his eyes that I couldn't quite shake off. At first, I ignored it. I mean, how could I even think something like that? It was my dad and my best friend, two people I considered untouchable, the foundations of my world. But as time went by, I started to notice little things. Emily stayed at my house longer than necessary, sometimes even when I wasn't home. More than once, I came back to find her chatting with my dad in the kitchen, laughing as if they shared some kind of private joke. One day, everything began to unravel. I was looking through Emily's phone, with her permission, trying to find some pictures we had taken. While scrolling, I noticed a hidden section of archived messages. Out of pure curiosity, I opened one, and my blood ran cold. It was from my dad. The message read, "I can't wait to see you alone again." I froze. My hands started trembling so badly that I almost dropped her phone. My brain refused to process what I was reading. It had to be a mistake, a misunderstanding, a terrible joke. But deep down, something inside me cracked. After that moment, nothing felt the same. Emily avoided eye contact when we talked, and my dad became even more distant with me. I wanted to scream, to confront them, to demand the truth. But fear kept me silent. Because the truth I feared the most was that the two people I trusted with my entire heart were betraying me behind my back. And then, on one ordinary Sunday, everything came crashing down. The morning after that strange encounter at the cafe, I couldn't get Emily's face out of my head. The way she looked at my dad, nervous, guilty, yet somehow drawn to him, it replayed in my mind on a loop. I tried to brush it off. She was my best friend. He was my father. Two worlds that should never, ever overlap. But soon, little things started adding up. Emily stopped answering my calls as quickly as before. When we did talk, she seemed distracted, her eyes darting around as if she were hiding something. She started canceling our Friday movie nights, saying she was too tired or busy with homework. Then, one night, I noticed something that shattered me. I had borrowed Emily's phone by accident. We both had the same model, and I didn't realize it until I saw the wallpaper wasn't mine. But what made my blood run cold wasn't the phone itself. It was the text messages lighting up the screen. They weren't from me. They weren't from her family. They were from my dad. The messages were casual, even playful. "Good night, beautiful. Sweet dreams. Can't wait to see you tomorrow." And one that made my stomach twist into knots. "Don't worry, she won't find out." I dropped the phone like it burned me. My chest tightened, my breath shallow, as if the walls were caving in around me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted it not to be true. That night, when Emily came over, I couldn't even look her in the eye. She was laughing, pretending everything was normal, but I saw the guilt in her smile. I saw the way she avoided my gaze when I asked about her weekend. I wanted to confront her right there, to throw her phone at her and demand an explanation. But I couldn't, because a small, fragile part of me still hoped I was wrong. Still, the evidence grew. I noticed my dad staying out later than usual, offering vague excuses that didn't add up. Sometimes, when I walked into the room, he'd quickly put his phone face down on the table. And the worst part? Emily was around even more than before. She'd sit at the kitchen table talking to my dad in low tones, both of them smiling at inside jokes I wasn't part of. I started to feel invisible in my own home. One evening, I overheard them laughing in the living room. My heart pounded as I crept closer, straining to hear her voice, his laugh, and then silence. When I peeked around the corner, I saw them sitting far too close. His hand lingered on her shoulder. Something inside me shattered. I couldn't unsee it anymore. It wasn't my imagination. It wasn't paranoia. My best friend and my father were crossing a line that could never be uncrossed. And I had no idea how much it was about to destroy me. The night I finally confronted them is burned into my memory like a scar I'll never erase. I had spent days, maybe weeks, living in denial, telling myself I was imagining things. But after what I saw, after the touches, the secret looks, the messages, there was no more room for excuses. So I waited until both of them were in the living room together. Emily sat on the couch, pretending to scroll through her phone, and my dad was beside her, sipping a glass of wine. The tension between them was thick, unspoken, but undeniable. My hands were shaking as I stood in the doorway. "So, how long has this been going on?" They both froze. Emily's phone slipped from her hands, landing with a dull thud on the carpet. My dad's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice strained, defensive. "Don't play dumb with me," I snapped. "The messages, the late nights, the way you look at each other when you think I'm not watching." "I know." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't deny it. She just sat there, staring at the floor, as if silence was safer than the truth. My dad, on the other hand, stood up and tried to act in control. "It's not what you think," he said, but even he didn't sound convinced. "Not what I think?" I laughed bitterly. "I saw you. I read what you wrote to her. Good night, beautiful. She won't find out? You really thought I'd never notice?" For a moment, the room was silent except for the sound of my own breathing, harsh and uneven. Finally, Emily whispered, "I didn't mean for this to happen." Her voice cracked. "I never wanted to hurt you." My vision blurred with hot tears. "You were my best friend. You were supposed to be like a sister to me. And you—" I turned to my dad, my throat burning. "You were supposed to protect me, not betray me." His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. That silence was worse than any excuse he could have given. I grabbed my bag and keys from the counter. My heart was breaking, but I knew I couldn't stay in that house another second. "You two deserve each other," I said, my voice trembling. "But don't ever expect me to forgive either of you." And with that, I walked out the door. The night air hit my face, cold and sharp, but it felt like the first breath of freedom I'd had in weeks. My chest was heavy, my heart shattered, but at least I wasn't blind anymore. I didn't look back, because I knew if I did, I'd see them together. And that was a sight I could never survive again.
If this story kept you hooked until the very end, don't forget to subscribe to Storybar, give this video a like, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us bring you even more stories full of drama, betrayal, love, and life-changing decisions. Don't miss the next one.